of the most fascinating experiences I had in Louisiana was hunting a strange invasive species, nutria. This trip was completely unexpected. I originally came just to visit an old friend, Robert. But he ended up taking me deep into the swamps to hunt nutria. Well then, why not? After hearing stories about these creatures, my curiosity got the better of me and I immediately agreed to join. So now, let's dive into this special hunting adventure together. Nutria, also known as Myocastor coipus, is a herbivorous rodent native to South America, with features that resemble a cross between a giant rat and a beaver. Originally bred for their fur, they were later released into the wild where they multiplied rapidly. At one point, their population density in Louisiana reached up to 6,000 per square mile. The result: nutria are estimated to cause over $1.2 billion in damage to U.S. agriculture and ecosystems annually. Louisiana alone spends tens of millions of dollars each year just to manage the destruction caused by these creatures. Given the situation, hunting has become the most practical and effective solution to keep this invasive species under control. Early that morning, my team and I were fully prepared for the hunt. The sun had yet to rise high, and the swamp was surrounded by tall, dense grass with murky waters. As we made our way along the swamp's edge, I spotted a nutria leisurely foraging. Before it could sense any danger, I fired precise shots, taking down the first target. Moments later, I saw several more nutria, and the gunfire echoed non-stop as we took out one invader after another. It wasn't until I saw it with my own eyes that I realized just how many nutria were infesting this area, scattered all along the banks or swimming through the water. The airboat kept speeding through the swamp, but by now, I had grown used to the pace. In the blink of an eye, 2 more shots rang out and I took down the other 2 nutria, each weighing over 7 kilograms. A surge of satisfaction welled up inside me. Whether they were hiding in the thick brush or swimming in the water, my team could spot and shoot them down in no time. I was completely hooked on this thrilling hunt. After enjoying the most exhilarating moments, I was ready to begin my own hunt. On a fast-moving motorboat, I managed to spot a nutria trying to escape up the bank. Without hesitation, I immediately raised my gun and aimed. This time, the nutria had no chance of escape. It collapsed in the muddy swamp. The sound of the engine startled the entire group of nutria. They panicked, scattering to find shelter among the bushes and tall grass. But none of them could escape my aim. My hunting principle is simple: 1 shot, 1 kill. And today, I executed it perfectly. We continue the hunt for the nutria. These creatures can sprint quickly on land, but they're also excellent swimmers in the water. Still, I tried my best to aim carefully and take down the target. It wasn't until the third shot that I was finally able to hit that nutria. Our motorboat kept moving toward the vast open waters. Bursts of gunfire echoed continuously, and the number of nutria we hunted was enormous. Yet, with every successful shot, we still felt an incredible rush of excitement. Each nutria brought onto the boat gave us a great sense of satisfaction. But even so, it's clear we'll need to put in much more effort if we hope to control this species. After taking down a large number of nutria, my team and I decided to wrap up the hunt. Looking at the boat filled with our hard-earned trophies, I felt genuinely happy. These giant nutria with their thick fur and sharp teeth may have caused serious damage to the environment, but today, they were no longer a threat. I couldn't even count how many I had hunted. They'll be used for food. Nutria meat is also consumed as a healthy alternative to traditional meats. For a long time, wild baboons have been a nightmare for rural communities in South Africa. They constantly invade farmland, destroy crops, attack livestock, and even pose a threat to human safety. As their intrusions grow more severe, the economic damage continues to rise. Faced with this situation, today, my fellow hunters and I have no choice but to set out on a tough mission, hunting baboons. It's the only way to help locals control the population of these highly intelligent yet extremely dangerous animals. A challenging and dramatic pursuit lies ahead. Join us on this intense journey. Unlike other types of pests, baboons don't act alone. They move in small, organized groups. Some go ahead to scout the area, others keep watch, some act as alarms, while the rest carry out the crop theft. If they sense they've been spotted, they let out a loud call to alert the whole group to retreat. These sophisticated behaviors make it extremely difficult to scare them off or trap them. Many farmers have had to give up entire harvests, unable to deal with the baboon's excessive intelligence. Electric fences, scarecrows, alarm sounds, they all become useless. The baboons learn fast and need only a few days to adapt to any method humans come up with. When soft deterrents no longer work, many farmers are forced to resort to stronger measures, controlled hunting. This is not a random or reckless act, but one that is legally allowed under South African law in certain situations, especially when these animals directly threaten people's livelihoods and safety. From early morning, we had already begun moving toward the valley to track the baboons. With a rifle in hand and equipped with modern tools like a scope and suppressor, I was fully ready for the battle ahead. Hunting baboons is not easy. You can't act rashly or shoot blindly. We needed a clear strategy: choose high ground, stay well camouflaged, and observe for hours. Even the slightest sound could alert the whole troop and cause them to vanish into the forest. Through my binoculars, I constantly scanned for the troublemakers. Finally, I spotted the first target, but it was quite far away. Taking it down from that distance wasn't easy. With a quick and firm decision, I raised my rifle and launched the attack. The accurate shot brought me my first trophy. Continuing the watch, I saw the entire troop gathered on high rocky ledges. Not long after, I spotted one at a closer range and in a favorable position. Without hesitation, I pulled the trigger. Then came the ones hiding in the treetops, on rock surfaces, and other tricky spots. My focus paid off, bringing unexpected success. To avoid being detected, we moved to a new ambush spot. After carefully camouflaging ourselves and lying in wait for hours, we finally located a new target. A baboon perched on a high rock ledge came into my sights, and I didn't hesitate. Perfect! The baboon was taken down with a single shot, tumbling off the rocky ledge. By late morning, through the treetops, I caught sight of the baboon troop on the mountain. Without delay, I had to move in and approach the target immediately before they sensed anything unusual and escaped. The whole team gave it their all, and the outcome was beyond what we had hoped for. The thrill of the moment washed away all my fatigue and made me forget the blazing midday heat. It seemed like today was a lucky and successful day. Fortune kept coming our way. Spotting two baboons standing side by side, I knew I couldn't miss the chance. I held my breath, took aim, and pulled the trigger. Luckily, the perfect shot allowed me to take down both baboons at once. We kept pushing through until late in the afternoon before finally returning to rest. With years of hunting experience, I was able to complete the objectives smoothly, putting in maximum effort to take down as many targets as possible. Controlled hunting trips like this have helped some farmers regain control of their fields. At a farm in the Mpumalanga region, after just 3 organized hunting sessions, agricultural output increased by 30%. However, hunting also sparks debate. Some conservationists worry that killing too many baboons could disrupt their complex social structure, potentially leading to more reckless behavior. Moreover, if the number of baboons taken down isn't properly controlled, it could backfire, causing an ecological imbalance. many people's imagination, dragons are mythical creatures that exist only in legends. However, on several islands in eastern Indonesia, dragons are real. They don't fly or breathe fire, but they're terrifying enough to strike fear into anyone who encounters them. These are Komodo dragons, the largest reptiles in the world, with a prehistoric appearance, fierce predatory instincts, razor-sharp teeth, and venom that can kill prey within hours. Recently, a series of unusual events plunged the entire village of Batamanga into a prolonged state of fear. As night fell, massive dark shapes slithered across fields, broke into animal pens, dragged away goats and pigs, and injured villagers. The Komodo dragons had left the forest and entered the village, bringing chaos with them. The Komodo dragon is the largest lizard species still living on Earth, capable of reaching up to 3 meters in length and weighing over 70 kilograms. Dubbed an apex predator, the Komodo dragon eats just about anything, from wild boar and water buffalo to baby elephants and carrion. Normally, they appear calm and even timid around humans. But the moment they feel threatened or hungry, they can become extremely dangerous. And that's exactly why we've embarked on this mission. Unlike wolves or red foxes, animals that typically live in packs and are often afraid of humans, but Komodo dragons are the complete opposite. They are reckless, solitary, and utterly fearless. Once they catch the scent of fresh meat or a carcass, they will track it relentlessly like a hunting machine. As a result, dozens of households in the village have lost all the livestock they had spent months raising. Many villagers no longer dare to sleep at night, taking turns to stand guard and putting up makeshift fences, yet all in vain. According to biologists, there are 3 main reasons why Komodo dragons, which usually dwell deep within the forest, have started venturing into residential areas: the ecological imbalance, a sharp decline in food sources, growing familiarity with humans. From these surprise attacks, dozens of goats, pigs, and chickens have been killed. Some were dragged into the forest, leaving behind only blood trails. Property damage is estimated at thousands of dollars per household, while the average monthly income is only around $150, $200. Yet the greatest loss is not money, but trust and safety. Children are too scared to play outside. Adults have abandoned their fields to build fences. The entire village lives in a state of constant fear. The villagers have tried everything: erecting barriers, hanging bells, lighting fires at night, setting traps. But all efforts have failed. At this point, hunting is considered the most effective solution. Hunting Komodo dragons is not as simple as with other animals. We needed a proper strategy. First, I needed a safe hiding spot to ensure everyone could stay well concealed. Compared to actively hunting, Komodo dragons actually prefer feeding on carrion. That's why I also prepared a good amount of rotting animal carcasses to attract them. As expected, it didn't take long before the first target appeared. Taking advantage of the opportunity, I quickly aimed and fired. With just one shot, the Komodo dragon collapsed to the ground. We always try to aim for vital spots like the heart or lungs to take it down immediately. Their numbers in this area are incredibly dense, so it wasn't too difficult for us to find new targets. One of the things I find most fascinating is that this species can reproduce without mating. Even without a male Komodo dragon, the females are still capable of giving birth. the Komodo dragons remained drawn to the pile of rotting food we had prepared. And that was our chance to strike. Not a single one could escape the deadly aim of our rifles. From within the bushes, a Komodo dragon cautiously approached the meal. In fact, they can swallow prey weighing up to 80% of their own body weight. That's why we're always worried about the village's livestock. This time, I didn't miss the chance. Just one shot was enough to take it down. A few minutes later, we hunted down another Komodo dragon at the same spot. Within seconds, it had no chance of escaping. At the canal near our home, we also scattered food to attract Komodo dragons. But you know there's no such thing as a free meal. I made a quick decision. One precise shot was fired, and with a sharp crack of the gun, the target was completely taken down. Today has been a successful hunting day, as the number of Komodo dragons we captured exceeded the usual level. However, this also raises serious concerns, because these predators are increasingly invading farms and residential areas. It's becoming extremely difficult to watch over the livestock, meaning farmers are suffering major economic losses. That's why we are still searching for the best solution to drive them away from human-inhabited areas. We had endured enough. Tender rice shoots gnawed down to the roots, electrical wires in the barn chewed through, feed bags torn open, and countless other damages. Night after night, the familiar rustling sounds jolted us awake, prompting frantic searches with flashlights, only to see the rats vanish like lightning into the shadows. After weeks of holding back, the basic methods no longer worked as they once did. So, we made a decision. It was time to act. Across the vast rice fields stretching from Asia to Europe, from crop farms in the Americas to high-tech agricultural zones in Australia, farmers face a common enemy that has tormented them for centuries: rats. These small rodents are a nightmare for crops, barns, storage facilities, equipment, and even national food security. According to estimates by the Food and Agriculture Organization, rats cause more than $27 billion in losses to global agriculture every year. When poison baits stop working. When rats become smart enough to avoid traps, recognize chemical scents, and no longer fear human presence, then rat hunting becomes a proactive, controlled, and immediately effective method. Unlike poison, hunting doesn't risk water contamination, chemical residues in soil, or accidentally killing non-target animals. When night falls, the farm sinks into silence, but we know an invasion is underway. The faint rustling sounds near the livestock feed area are a clear sign. The rats are back. We started from the rear of the farm, and just as we expected, they had already emerged. As the rats were busy scavenging for food, we quickly positioned our rifles and took aim. Look at that! Turns out, rat hunting can be quite thrilling, right? Precision through the scope helped me take them down with just a single shot. But the challenge of rat hunting is far from simple. Some of these rats are incredibly small. That's why we spent quite a bit of time choosing the right weapon to deal with these frustrating little targets. In the darkness, the rats had no idea they were facing danger and continued to scavenge slowly across the ground, but that was also the perfect moment for us to strike. One shot, one kill. Managed to take down quite a few. Yet from every corner, the rats kept emerging. We had to stay sharp and fully focused to eliminate as many as possible. In the darkness, glowing eyes appeared through the scope, and we had no time to rest. The entire team gave it their all in the fight against the rats. Rat hunting really burns through a lot of ammo, as the rats are everywhere, countless in number and showing up almost anywhere. Even though the actions are repetitive, we never felt bored. Just think about it, the more rats I take down, the less trouble they'll cause for the livestock on the farm. Scanned around the farm with my light and was honestly surprised. From the ground to the rooftop, they were everywhere. It felt like we had taken down a lot, but that number was only a small fraction. The rats here seemed larger, which made it easier for me to spot them and shoot accurately. I'll make them pay for all the destruction they've caused. It was already midnight by now, and the number of rats just kept increasing with no sign of slowing down. There! It thought it could escape? With a carefully aimed shot, I took it down easily. The rat dropped on the spot. Any target that enters my scope is destined to be eliminated. The warehouse, the farm, even the fences, the rats kept sneaking through every crack and crevice, but that couldn't save them from my sights. The moment one stood still, a gunshot would ring out instantly, ending it on the spot. After an intense stretch of non-stop action, hundreds of rats had been eliminated in this area alone. patiently ambushing in this area, the rats kept showing up one by one and none of them escaped my crosshairs. The battle went on until the break of dawn, when the number of rats finally began to decrease. We couldn't keep track of how many were eliminated, but all of them were collected and properly handled to ensure safety and prevent any risk of disease transmission. From this operation, the model of scheduled rat hunts, swift and decisive, is now being considered for wider implementation across nearby areas. Each local region could establish a mobile rat hunting team, deployed at the start of each season or as soon as danger signs appear.